Make sure the maid cleans the guest bathroom before the party starts, my sister-in-law, Chloe, told her friend over speakerphone. I froze in the marble hallway. The woman down on her hands and knees, scrubbing baseboards in the luxury entryway, wasn't hired help. It was our 62-year-old mother. The woman with severe arthritis who had worked 2 grueling factory jobs so my brother Mark and I could go to college. And the kicker? Chloe wasn't paying for the maid, the cleaners, or even the roof over her head. I was. The $600,000 suburban home she was hosting her elite dinner party in didn't belong to Chloe or Mark. The deed sat entirely under my private holding company. Standing by the archway, holding a bottle of high-end wine I had brought to celebrate their housewarming, I watched Chloe casually step right over my mother's bucket without even looking down. Mark was sitting on the living room sofa, eyes glued to a baseball game, pretending not to hear a single word. My blood didn't boil right away, it went completely cold. When someone takes your generosity and mistakes it for weakness, you don't scream and you don't throw a scene. You just quietly review the legal paperwork and plan your exit. To understand how we ended up here, you have to know what Mom gave up for us. When our father walked out, she worked 60-hour weeks in a noisy textile factory and scrubbed dental clinics at night. Her knuckles were always cracked, but Mark and I never missed a meal. I swore the day I made it out, she would never lift a heavy finger again. By 34, my freight logistics company took off, giving me real financial freedom. Mark, however, bounced between get-rich-quick schemes. 2 years ago, he married Chloe, a lifestyle influencer whose entire life revolved around faking extreme wealth. Predictably, they drowned in credit card debt and faced eviction. Mark came to me in tears, begging for a lifeline. I made a deal. I purchased the $600,000 home under my corporate LLC. I let Mark and Chloe live there completely rent-free, so long as they covered basic utilities, saved money, and gave Mom the spacious ground-floor master suite so she would never live alone. They signed the tenant agreement, smiled eagerly, and swore Mom would be treated like royalty. I believed my brother's promises. That was my first major mistake, because giving an entitled person free shelter doesn't make them grateful, it just makes them bolder. For the first 3 months, Chloe played the part of the grateful relative. But once the novelty wore off, pure entitlement set in. Her social media became a showcase of our private estate, featuring staged photos by the quartz kitchen island and pool, carefully framed so nobody would know whose name was on the deed. Then came the calculated shift with Mom. Chloe quietly canceled the professional cleaning service I paid for, claiming she preferred Mom's special touch. Soon, Mom was up at dawn cooking 3 separate meals a day, hand-washing delicate designer blouses, and running endless errands across town. Every time I called to check in, Mom made excuses, insisting she just wanted to stay productive and help out. But whenever I dropped by unannounced, the ugly reality was impossible to ignore, Chloe lounging on the sofa barking orders while Mom hauled heavy laundry baskets up the stairs, wincing with every step. Mark simply ignored it, too weak to stand up to his demanding wife. I pulled Mark aside twice and gave him strict warnings. Mom is your mother, not your live-in domestic staff, I told him bluntly. You stop this, or I step in. He brushed me off with nervous laughs, claiming Chloe was under immense pressure and that I was overreacting. They took my calm demeanor as weakness and assumed my financial support was unconditional. They had no idea they were walking straight onto very thin ice. The final breaking point arrived on a Saturday evening. Chloe had organized a high-society dinner party for 8 influential guests, desperate to cement her status in the neighborhood. I decided to arrive 20 minutes early. That was the exact moment I heard the maid remark echo through the foyer. I stepped into the entryway. Mom looked up, her arthritic knees visibly trembling as she wrung out a wet cleaning rag. Chloe glanced up, momentarily startled to see me, but there was not a trace of guilt on her face. "Oh, Gerald, you're early," Chloe said dismissively, tossing her designer coat onto the mahogany console Mom had just polished. "Tell your mother to hurry up with the smoked salmon platters. Our first guests are pulling into the driveway right now." I walked forward, gently took the dirty sponge from Mom's trembling fingers, and pulled off her rubber gloves. Mom, go upstairs right now and pack an overnight bag, I said, my voice eerily calm. Gerald, what are you doing? She hasn't plated the appetizers, Chloe scoffed, crossing her arms in annoyance. I have important clients coming through that door. The only person of any value in this house is packing her bags, I replied coldly, never raising my tone. Mark rushed in from the back patio, eyes wide with panic. Gerald, please don't cause a scene now. I didn't utter another word. I escorted Mom to my car, loaded her suitcase, and drove away into the evening. I checked Mom into a quiet luxury hotel downtown where she could finally rest without anyone barking orders at her. First thing Monday morning, I sat across from my real estate attorney. Because the property was held under my holding company, Mark and Chloe were legal occupants under a month-to-month license agreement. The contract had strict covenants regarding unauthorized business activities and host conduct. My lawyer drafted the paperwork within an hour. At noon, a process server handed Chloe an official 30-day notice to vacate, alongside confirmation that the holding company was terminating all utility allowances. My phone lit up instantly with 14 missed calls. When I finally answered, Chloe was screaming hysterically. You cannot kick us out. This is our home. Mark is your flesh and blood. The corporation owns the deed, Chloe, I answered in a measured tone. And as the sole managing director, I have chosen to liquidate the property. Your 30 days started when you signed for that envelope. Mark grabbed the phone, his voice shaking with desperation. Gerald, please. We spent thousands furnishing the living room. Where are we supposed to go? You're ruining our lives over a misunderstanding. There was no misunderstanding, Mark, I said. You watched your wife treat our mother like an unpaid servant in a home you lived in for free, and you said nothing. You wanted to live like royalty? Start paying royal rent. I hung up the call before he could respond and temporarily blocked both of their numbers. Within 3 weeks, the house was completely cleared out. Chloe attempted to rally our extended family against me, but the moment I shared the security footage and the legal paper trail, the family group chats went dead silent. Not a single relative offered them a couch to sleep on. Mark and Chloe were forced into a cramped, one-bedroom basement apartment on the outskirts of town, frantically selling off their luxury furniture at steep discounts just to cover the security deposit. The glamorous facade Chloe spent years building vanished overnight. I placed the suburban house on the market and sold it well above asking price. With the clean proceeds, I bought a stunning ground-floor garden condo overlooking the lake, putting the deed entirely in Mom's name. It features full concierge service, elevator access, and 0 stairs to strain her knees. Now, every Sunday, I sit on Mom's sunlit terrace having morning tea. She doesn't scrub baseboards, she doesn't cater to narcissists, and she never answers to anyone again. Some people believe family means tolerating toxic disrespect. The truth is, real family means honoring the ones who sacrificed everything to build you, and walking away from the ones who take them for granted.